Number 9. Matthew McConaughey. While living in Austin, Texas in 1999, famous actor Matthew McConaughey partied all night long one Saturday to celebrate the Texas Longhorns' victory in a football game. The festivities in his alma mater's honor continued into the next day and throughout the night. McConaughey, who was 29 years old at the time, didn't get any sleep, but he eventually decided to go home and unwind. In his memoir titled Green Lights, he described how he arrived at his apartment at around 2:30 in the morning and got undressed, opened a window to let some fresh air in, and in his words, smoked a bowl. Feeling inspired by the music of Cameroonian guitar player and singer Henri de Conge that was playing on a stereo, McConaughey busted out his conga drums and started playing along. Suddenly, 2 police officers entered the apartment unannounced and pinned the actor to the floor. McConaughey later wrote that they were mocking him and aggressive towards him from the get-go. They seemed to feel triumphant about arresting the dazed and confused star, who was still in the early years of his career. The officers charged McConaughey with disturbing the peace, possession of marijuana, and resisting arrest, and hauled him off to jail, naked. One of the cops offered to grab a blanket, but he said that his nudity was proof that he was minding his own business that night when they barged into his home. However, he finally put pants on at the urging of a fellow inmate. At the arraignment, the judge was baffled by how a noise complaint had turned into such a heated confrontation. She dropped 2 of the 3 charges and reduced the third to a $50 noise citation, which was eventually wiped from McConaughey's record. Number 8. Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves was on the fast track to becoming an A-list celebrity when the Los Angeles police arrested him for drunk driving and several other charges in 1993. His mugshot reminded him of his dad, Sam Reeves, who was serving a decade behind bars at the time for cocaine possession. It was a much-needed reality check for the 30-year-old Keanu, who realized that he needed to change his lifestyle if he didn't want to end up like his father. As his fame grew, he had found himself struggling to cope with the immense changes that it brought to his life. He started drinking, partying, and driving recklessly. The DUI charge came after he was nabbed 3 times for driving with a suspended license in 1991 and 1992. At the time of the arrest in 1993, Reeves was slated to star in the movie Speed. It would be the film that shot him to stardom, but it may not have happened if he didn't change his ways. Keanu cleaned up his act and started to care a lot more about his health and future. Realizing that he was lucky that his drunk driving never hurt anyone, he also began to care more about the well-being and safety of others. He pleaded guilty to the reckless driving charge in exchange for getting his other charges dropped and put the ordeal behind him. Today, he continues to focus a lot of energy on his health and fitness, limits his drinking, and never drives drunk. Number 7. Winona Ryder. Actress Winona Ryder could have easily paid the $5,500 worth of designer merchandise she was caught stealing from a Saks Fifth Avenue store in Beverly Hills in 2001. While arresting her, police found 8 drugs in her possession, and Ryder was charged with 4 felonies as a result. The case fell under widespread public scrutiny, with many questioning the status of her mental health. Others assumed that there must have been a mistake, and that the police had arrested the wrong suspect. Either way, the allegations seemed wildly out of character for the actor. During the trial, Ryder was accused of abusing narcotics without a prescription. Prosecutor Ann Rundle told the jury that when the actress was arrested, she had more drugs on her than a terminally ill person would receive. Ryder took a break from Hollywood while she focused on the issues in her life that led to her to commit the crime. She later told Us magazine that a lot of people tried telling her what she should be doing, and that Hollywood would forget about her if she was gone for too long. However, she learned to tune out the noise and began to focus on what she believed was truly best for herself. In late 2002, Ryder was convicted of felony grand theft, shoplifting, and vandalism. The judge overseeing the case sentenced her to 3 years of probation and 480 hours of community service. She was ordered to undergo drug and psychological counseling and was required to pay over $10,000 in restitution and fines. When she completed her community service, the felony convictions were reduced to misdemeanors. She has since returned to acting, and while it took some time for her to shed her image as a 90s girl, her career seems to have made a full recovery. Number 6. Major League Mishap. In early 2021, former New York Yankees outfielder Johnny Damon was pulled over outside a gated community near Orlando on suspicion of drink driving. According to a police report, the 47-year-old was unsteady on his feet, and his speech was extremely slurred. Body cam footage showed Damon and his wife, Michelle Mangan Damon, both uttering "Blue Lives Matter," before Johnny said, "Guys, we are all for cops," as if it might get him off the hook. Damon also told the officers that he lived just 200 yards away. Michelle allegedly acted uncooperatively, refusing to get into a police car and telling an officer not to effing touch her when he tried pulling her toward the vehicle. Johnny didn't help matters by saying, "She fights all the time," and "My wife's crazy," in response to her behavior. As if the couple hadn't embarrassed themselves enough by that point, the former Major League Baseball player then accused the police of targeting him because he's a Trump supporter. An officer reassured Damon that the reasons for pulling him over had nothing to do with his political beliefs and everything to do with how he was driving, but he continued to insist otherwise. He performed poorly in field sobriety tests, and his blood alcohol level tested at 0.30, nearly 4 times the legal limit for driving in Florida. Johnny was taken into custody for the DUI, and Michelle was charged with battery on an officer and resisting with violence. He ultimately struck a deal with the prosecutors and entered a pretrial diversion program that would allow the case to be dropped if he stayed out of trouble for a certain amount of time. In addition to being required to leave, Johnny was ordered to perform community service and make a charitable donation. Number 5. John Mayer. When officers from the Los Angeles Police Department arrested Fall Out Boy singer Patrick Stump in 2009 for driving with a suspended license, singer John Mayer took to Twitter about his own arrest for the same offense 8 years earlier. In reference to the charge, he wrote, "It's the lamest answer to the question, 'Why you in here?'" Mayer then challenged TMZ's Harvey Levin to find his mugshot from the arrest, and the reward was a donation of $25,000 to his charity of choice. Levin responded by saying that the mugshot was on its way, but thesmokinggun.com found and posted it first. The photo was taken following Mayer's 2001 arrest in Georgia and was provided to both The Smoking Gun and TMZ by the Atlanta Department of Corrections. Shortly after, The Smoking Gun posted the image with the timestamp from 3:03 p.m. TMZ posted the same mugshot with the same timestamp. However, the first comment on the TMZ article came at 3:10, suggesting that the site backdated their post, and the corrections employee emailed the photo to TMZ after it appeared on The Smoking Gun. This proved that TMZ was not the first to post the mugshot. Mayer split the award between the two websites and donated $12,500 each to 2 different animal rescue organizations of their choosing. Number 4. Michelle Rodriguez. Actress Michelle Rodriguez is best known for her roles in The Fast and the Furious and the ABC Castaway drama Lost. She played an LAPD cop on TV, but in 2003, real-life LAPD officers arrested her for a hit-and-run, drunk driving, and driving with a suspended license. Rodriguez was still serving her 3-year probation sentence for the incident when she relocated to Hawaii to film Lost, and was repeatedly pulled over for speeding. Police cited her in 3 separate incidents for going at least 30 miles per hour over the intended speed limits. In late 2005, Rodriguez and her Lost co-star Cynthia Watros were arrested by Honolulu police within 15 minutes of each other for driving under the influence. Watros took full responsibility for her behavior and seemed eager to move on from her case. However, things were a little more complicated for Rodriguez, who was also prosecuted in Los Angeles for violating her probation by driving drunk. Rodriguez pleaded guilty to the DUI in Hawaii and received a 5-day jail sentence along with a fine. After serving her time there, she received a 60-day jail sentence in Los Angeles, but was released on her first day due to overcrowding. In 2007, she wound up back in jail for 6 months after failing to complete her community service requirements and drinking while on a monitoring device. This time, the actress was required to serve her entire sentence. She finally completed her community service in 2009, and despite all of her legal issues, she has seen continued success in her acting career. Number 3. Haley Joel Osment. Most people who have heard of Haley Joel Osment remember him as the child actor who starred in Forrest Gump and The Sixth Sense during the 1990s. He became especially famous for the trademark line, "I See Dead People" that was featured in previews of The Sixth Sense. Osment grew up just like any other human, but people had a hard time thinking of him as anything other than the timid and terrified little boy from the supernatural horror film, which could explain why it came as such a shock when he was arrested for drunk driving in 2006. He was 18 years old when he lost control of his car and crashed in the middle of the night outside Los Angeles. After striking a mailbox and flipping the vehicle over, he was lucky to walk away with only a broken rib and an injured shoulder. His blood alcohol levels tested at 0.16, twice the legal limit, and police found marijuana in his car. Osment was convicted of misdemeanor DUI and drug possession and was sentenced to 3 years of probation. The judge also ordered him to attend rehab and AA meetings. Number 2. Manny Ramirez. Throughout his 19-season career, Manny Ramirez played as an outfielder for 5 Major League Baseball teams, including the Cleveland Indians, the Boston Red Sox, the Los Angeles Dodgers, the Chicago White Sox, and the Tampa Bay Rays. One of his biggest achievements came in 2004, when he was named MVP of the World Series for helping Boston achieve its first victory in 86 years. In 2011, he tested positive for a substance that is typically used to mask steroid use, which was his second violation of the MLB's drug policy. Facing a probable 100-game suspension, the 39-year-old decided to retire instead. Unfortunately, his life only seemed to get more messy after that. Just a handful of months after Manny retired, in response to a domestic violence call, Broward County Sheriff's deputies went to the Western Florida home he shared with his wife, Juliana. Juliana told the responding deputy that she had called the police during an argument with her husband because she was scared that things would escalate. She accused Ramirez of hitting her and had some visible injuries to her face. Manny denied it, claiming that Juliana had accidentally hit her head when he grabbed her by the shoulders. He was arrested for domestic violence, but the charge was dropped the following year when Juliana failed to cooperate with prosecutors. Authorities said that they had attempted to serve a subpoena on her and gotten a response, and that they believed she was out of state. Number 1. Randy Travis. Singer Randy Travis recorded dozens of wholesome and heartfelt songs throughout his more than 30-year career. Given the type of music he's known for, it came as a surprise to many when police released dashcam footage of Travis's arrest for driving under the influence 5 years earlier. State troopers found him in a car outside a church in Grayson County, Texas, with an open bottle of wine after receiving a call about an unclothed man lying in the road. He was naked and stunk of booze and had crashed the vehicle in a construction zone. Earlier that evening, Travis had allegedly entered a convenience store while naked and demanded cigarettes. An employee called the police, and he reportedly left when he realized he didn't have any money to pay for the cigarettes. When troopers took the county singer into custody, he became belligerent and threatened their lives. He was charged with a DUI and making a terroristic threat against a public servant. After coming to his senses and realizing that the arrest had been captured on camera, Travis sued to block it from being released to the public. 5 years later, in 2017, a judge ruled that the video didn't violate his privacy rights and allowed its release. Travis pleaded guilty to the DUI charge in 2013 and was sentenced to 2 years of probation. 6 months later, he suffered a massive stroke which left permanent damage and prevented him from fully returning to his singing career. Which one of these arrests did you find the most shocking? Let us know in the comments below. And while you're at it, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.